The impact of the scheme was a lot more than what we could ever hope for. It was really successful.
It brought a substantial investment into the area. For this organisation, it helped us to sustain our engagement activities with young people.
I got a lot out of it, and because of Fair Share and Eastern Ravens, it proves that things can change.
We were given the three main areas to work on, which were Portrack and Tylery, Newtown and Hardwick. And we set up three sort of areas we wanted to work on. Children and young people, healthy living and healthy lifestyles, and the third one was improving community linkages between the existing voluntary groups in the area and helping people to get to know each other a bit better too. That came out.
So this full estate is Primrose Hill, initially where the Fair Share project was aimed for. And Eastern Ravens has been going now, we celebrated our 50th year in 2011, and we're a charity set up to give young people activities and ideas for the future and get them off the streets. And as you can see, it's a typical mid-England housing estate. The project came about because Eastern Ravens had the idea of setting up a youth group for this area, and because there wasn't any facilities for the kids. There she is, our centre, which was Primrose Hill Community Centre. We'd have activities outside in the gardens, in the grounds. We'd do barbecues, we'd do all sorts, whatever the kids. We had a big Dex party out here where the residents came and joined in, because they knew that what we were doing was helping their community through the Fair Share project. It was all getting them off the streets, what they're normally up to. Even we got the police officer, the local police, said we didn't even know there was a youth club on, but we were wondering why it was always quiet round here on a Thursday night. Not the best estate, but when you showed them the nice parts and what nice people there were, they started to take pride in where they lived, and they started to respect neighbours, and they started to think that it isn't all about what society owes them, it's what they can help as well. We had volunteers who were volunteering with Eastern Ravens, and they used to come on the Thursday night when we were in the youth club, and they would say to the young people, "Why are you volunteering?" I wouldn't do it unless I was getting... But then after the relationship was built up, they said, well, it's the scene that it's like an avenue or a way of getting into college or getting into a job, whatever they wanted to do, because of volunteering. December the 15th, 2011 was the last session we held because up the Christmas week, and what we did, we got Eastern Ravens provided, we had a tuck shop. The people used to run the tuck shop, and they'd say, well, I can't do that. I said, well, you count the money, you give the sweets out, you take the money, you give the change out. If it's wrong, it's your money that you're losing. But they all loved it, having some responsibility, and they couldn't believe, how come you're letting them run the shop? It was their shop, it's their tuck shop. One night was my birthday, and all these young people, they were there the week before, secretively, from me, making birthday cards. And you just wouldn't believe young lads like at 15, 16, 17 colouring in and making birthday cards for you. There is a community out there. Although you drive past on the main streets, there is people in there, and people say, oh, I wouldn't associate with that area, it's rough or it's down. The people are not rough and down. You know, I've learned that if you give them a little bit, put a bit of effort in, they'll reward you just the same as what they're getting out of it. I wanted to get a dartboard but dartboard and dart are classed as a dangerous weapon. So I had to convince my boss that I was using it as a maths tool. So I set up the darts school, club, whatever. We used to play darts all night And at first they'd score 26 and get the phone out to use the calculator to see how many they'd scored. But then I said no more phones, so every one of them became confident in adding up pounds if they've got to the shop. They said, oh, so if I go to the shop now and it worked. They were all not brilliant, but they were all a lot more confident just by doing the darts. And in 3 years, with the dartboard, and all the worries about people throwing darts at each other, not one person was injured. I never seen one person throw the darts anywhere but at the dartboard. So if you trust them, give them the opportunity to shine and do things that they're always getting told they can't do this and they can't do that. We were about showing people they can have a good time, they can work between each other and with each other and look after each other, and that's what they all got out of it. The fair share, along with Eastern Ravens Trust, I think showed them that they don't all have to be millionaires to get to feel rich. I got a lot out of it, and because of fair share and Eastern Ravens, it proves that things can change.
There's a group set up locally called the Tees Valley Professional Services Group, which is local professional companies give the time of their employees, who are obviously experienced people, to work directly with the voluntary and community sector organisations.
We are asked as a member of PSG to give, I think it's 5 days of our time a year to the charitable sector, and that we're very happy to do that. It's the kind of commitment that I think is more than realistic for a lot of businesses, in fact, when you consider the amount of time, resources and people we've got at our disposal. Actually 5 days isn't too much as a payback to the community. I have in the past worked within the voluntary sector. Consequently, I'm very conscious of the work of the sector and charities. I'm very much aware of the benefits that they bring, but I'm also aware of the support that they need. When I set my own company up, one of the things we decided to do then and have continued to do since is to, where it's possible and it's practical, to continue to provide support to the voluntary sector and to charities. I think it's beneficial as an individual because it helps me think about the kind of society and the community in which I'm operating. It helps me face the realities of what it's like to live in a community. And while it's very easy sometimes to be caught up in the business and the business world and profits and the rest of it, actually, because we also focus a lot on people actually matter to businesses. And what does that mean? And why do people live where they do? And what are the impacts on people's lives? And what benefits do people get out of living in their communities? And what are the stresses and strains they're facing? All of that is all part and parcel of living in a community. And working with charities enables you to keep your feet on the ground and to actually understand some of the realities of life, which can only benefit, well, me as an individual, because it helps me keep that perspective, but also I can feed that back into the business as well.
We aim to work with some young people that weren't accessing mainstream services and provide volunteering opportunities to help them become more employable in the future. So the Fair Share Trust grant enabled us to extend our work to some different geographical areas across the Stockton borough.
I originally came here to be housed with campus myself for support and getting back into college, and that's when I came to do works experience here with Community Campus. My role within the project was to deliver the youth work with the young people themselves. The activities that we took part in was allotments, lunch club, residentials, in which was working with the young people, developing their budgeting skills, healthy eating, building on their confidence and self-esteem.
I think in terms of the Fair Share grant, it helped us deliver that programme. I think we were and constantly are seeking resources to deliver services to marginalised young people. It brought a substantial investment into the area, and for this organisation it helped us to sustain our engagement activities with young people.
It changed a lot of the young people's lives because they learnt a lot of skills and they developed really far with it all, and that they're able to go back to college or into employment themselves.
I started coming because, first of all, there was nothing to do on the estate and I didn't really want to get into trouble. I didn't want to go down that path, so it was just the only thing I could actually do, so I come along and I enjoyed it, to be honest.
My name is John Brody. I'm the lead youth work coordinator from the HYPE project, which was funded through the Fair Share Trust. We believed the successful elements of the project are a few things. One being the partnership work with other agencies and uniformed services, which has enabled us to have close working relationships. This in turn helped with the reduction of the antisocial behaviour on the estate during the period of time of the project.
It just got me off the streets and kept me out of trouble. It just let us come in and participate in activities.
The benefits it gave me was, for one, I made new friends and I learned a little bit about myself, that I could put myself in a situation that I wouldn't expect to be in. And when we played football, the local police come along and played with us. At first it was a bit strange because the police get a bad name on the estate, but there was a big benefit in it because obviously it took the kids off the estate for a few hours and the police got to know the youth, and obviously it grew with a bond and stuff, and the crime actually dropped, and obviously the police got to know the young ones and that, and it wasn't just conflict between them, it was actually a friendship in the end. He opened a lot of doors, and the kids now obviously trust the police on the estate and don't really want to cause trouble because of the respect they've got for them.
The Willows is a community centre based in the heart of Stockton-on-Tees. It's run by a group of volunteers, all of whom are local residents, and I'm the only full-time member of staff. Well, one of our term time activities we ran through the Fair Share project was a homework club. The homework club was designed to give parents an opportunity to spend an hour, 2 hours each week with their children doing the homework, and we removed all of the obstacles that could get in the way. So we provided a creche for parents who might have smaller children who could be distracting. We provided healthy snacks for the children who might be hungry after school, and we ran this for several weeks. And just so happens at the time I had a meeting with a guy from Tees Achieve, which is part of Stockton Adult Education, who seen the homework club and was interested in what we were doing, and thought it was brilliant. We had lots of families there, and all the kids were enjoying it. They didn't want to go home, they wanted to keep on doing the work, and as a result of this they offered to provide us with a free tutor, family learning support tutor, who was trained to support parents in helping their children, and also they fund the creche facility now for us, and that's been running for, we're in our 5th year with the homework club. So that was a result of the Fair Share funding and how it's continued, and we've got them, you know, at the minute we're busier than we've ever been, so it just continues to grow. As a result of the Fair Share project, families were coming in and then, you know, meeting with TriStar, meeting with the jobs rep, going on to further education with Tees Achieve, and it was just a whole new, you know, it was a whole new set of people coming into the centre, and it just changed the dimensions, really, the way we worked. It just changed it completely for the better. One thing I've learned is not to underestimate people. People always surprise me, especially the participants. There's a few things that for example, the homework club that I've been talking about, I didn't think would last longer than 6 weeks. I didn't think parents would be that willing to be involved in coming to learn with the children, but 4 years later they've proved me wrong. So that's something I have learned, not to underestimate people.